Hi guys! So last week I did a video showing you guys all the adult fantasy books that I'm hoping to get around to in the summer, and today's video is going to be a list of all the young adult books that I'm hoping to get around to. There's a lot of books on this list and a lot of books that you guys already know about, so I'm probably not going to give super in-depth synopses of these books. I'm just going to kind of let you guys know and give you a really brief description about them. Jumping right into it, the first one on the list is pretty much any of the Lunar Chronicles books by Marissa Meyer. I read Heartless a little while ago and I loved it, and these books I know are fairy tale retellings. I love retellings. I really enjoyed Heartless. I like Marissa Meyer's writing in that book at least, so I'm really excited and pumped to finally get around to this series. The next book is one that's plot I know sounds so intriguing and interesting to me, and that would be Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. This book is about a society where a queen rules, and that queen always gives birth to 3 daughters, and then the daughters have to essentially battle it out for the throne. That sounds super morbid and right up my alley. I'm really excited to start it. I hope it lives up to the hype that I put up in my brain. And I know that the sequel is coming out in a couple months, I think, so I really want to get around to this one before that one comes out. Next up is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I know that this author is very highly regarded. A lot of people on BookTube have been talking about Strange the Dreamer, which also sounds really good, but I want to start with her earlier works, and I know these came first. A lot of people have said great things about the series. I personally don't know a ton about it, and I want to keep it that way because I've heard the less you know, the better. But if you guys have read this, let me know because I'm really excited to start her stuff. The next book is one that was a gift from a BookTube friend of mine, and that is Unblemished by Sarah Ella. The synopsis of this book is a little bit vague, but I do know that the main protagonist has some kind of marking on her face that she's really self-conscious about, and on the inside cover it says, Eliana can't bear to look at her own reflection, but what if that were only one reflection, one world? What if another world exists where her blemish could become her strength? Next up is the first prequel book in the Fallen Kingdom series, and that is Spirit of Thieves by Morgan Rhodes. I honestly have heard a decent amount of people talk about Fallen Kingdoms, but I've never heard anybody really talk about the prequels, so I want to jump into them and see if they give me the same kind of like guilty pleasure, like, you know, emotions and stuff that I get out of the Fallen Kingdom series. The next book on the list is a book that I have read before and I loved, and I really want to reread it soon because I found out when I got back into reading after college that this series had a bunch more in it since I had last picked it up, and that series would be City of Masks by Mary Hoffman. These books are so good. The main character is going through chemotherapy because he has cancer, and one day he falls asleep and wakes up and he is in a parallel world, and in this world he no longer has cancer. The world he ends up going to are after people like him and after the things that they have that enable them to go between their world and the other world, and there are things about each that are incredibly valuable. So people are after him. There is sort of kind of magic in their world. They consider it science, but it's magic. And he also still has time go by. When he's in the parallel world, he has to make sure he's not there too long or he's outside his real body for too long, so he has to try to go back and forth between the two. I love this book when I read it before. It has a very strong Italian feel, like Venice and Rome and everything. So if you guys like stories with those kinds of settings and you think that the idea of a portal fantasy is cool, I would highly recommend this series. Next up is a book that I know pretty much everybody has heard about and seen, so I won't spend too much time talking about it, but that would be Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This book is told in a really interesting format. It's told through email exchanges and video camera footage and all sorts of different means, and I think that concept sounds really jarring and you'd think wouldn't work, but everybody says it's amazing. I've heard that this is so good on audiobook, and I've been wanting to try and get into audiobooks, so I'm hoping that I can find one and get a hold of it and listen to it and read it because I really wanted to get into both this and audiobook. Next up is a book that I feel like it's basically a crime to have not read it in the BookTube community, and that would be The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I do not know what this book is about. So yeah, I'm gonna take everybody's word for it and finally give it a shot. Next up is a book that when I was asking you guys some recommendations and I asked you guys to let me know what some of your favorite books are, a surprising amount of you said this series, and that would be the Selection series by Kiera Cass. The front of the book says 35 girls, 1 crown, and the competition of a lifetime. That's about all I need to know. That kind of sums up the book pretty well. And I know that you guys have said that you love this series and that I think some of you even said it got you out of some reading slumps. It's a lot of fun. They're not too long, but there are quite a few of them. So I'm really excited. I don't often read fun books, so I think that this is going to be a good one to get me like going from one book to the next if those other books are really serious or depressing. Next is a book that I know that one of my writing critique partners is going to be so happy that I'm finally getting around to, and that is Graceling by Kristen. My friend, she's always saying like that she feels super annoyed with a lot of the protagonists in a lot of YA books, but in this one it has an awesome main protagonist and she says that the plot is really cool. I've heard other people say that this book is great. I have seen a lot of times on lists of like some of the best YA fantasies that this series is considered to be up there pretty high, so I don't know a ton about it, but I'm excited to start it. Next up is Valiant by Leslie Livingston, and this is a book about a female gladiator, and from what I can tell, she doesn't start off as a gladiator, but she's kind of forced into the gladiator arenas to fight and entertain, and my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, is the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. I love that movie. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. Anyway, to me it sounds like this plot is basically that movie but with a female character. If you tell me it's like got a female gladiator, that's all I need to know. I think that sounds cool. Next up is the book Frostblood by Ellie Blake. It says on the front, in a world of ice, she will burn, and the main character apparently lives in a world where everybody has ice powers and she has fire powers, and just by existing, she's breaking the law. It honestly seemed as though a lot of people were talking about this book when it first came out, but now it's been out for a little bit, I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but I think it sounds really interesting, and I think this cover is beautiful, even though that doesn't matter. Next up is Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This is a book that sounds a lot to me like a combination of the Grisha trilogy and the first Throne of Glass book. The first Throne of Glass book, like a lot of you know, follows the main character Selena as she is going through some kind of a competition to potentially become the king's champion or his assassin. And in this book, pretty similar. There's a king who's looking to have, I think the person is supposed to be more of a magic wielder, but they're looking to have somebody fill that role, and I think they have to go through some stuff to potentially get it. And it reminds me a little bit of the Grisha trilogy based off the description because it has a very strong Russian-esque flair. Lastly, if you guys have made it through me saying that I'm excited and the next book a bajillion times, but the last book is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. The front of the book has a quote that says, "Readers should rejoice because we now have a lady, a Jack Sparrow, on our hands." From what I've heard, this book is lots of fun and it's a quick, easy read. The romantic interest in the book is cute and happy, and the book is just a jolly old time. Anyway, that's it for all of the young adult books that I'm hoping to get around to between the months of July through September. If you guys have read any of these books, or if you want to read any of these books, let me know because I'm always down to buddy read, and if you've read them, I'm curious to know what you think of them. I will make one more summer TBR video letting you guys know what graphic novels, comic books, and manga that I'm hoping to get around to this summer. But anyway, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of my videos right over here. Don't forget too that my wonderful hubby now has his own channel and he primarily talks about comic books and stuff, so if you guys want to check him out, I'll put a link in the description bar down below to his channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!